focusing on transforming your mindset so that you can achieve the success and the prosperity that God has already designed for you to achieve in something called your Jeremiah 29:11. It says that he knows the plans and the thoughts that he has for you. They are plans to prosper you, to give you peace, and to bring you to an expected end. We're talking about your destiny. Your destiny is your expected end, not something that comes to an end, but we're talking about the plan that will bring you to your destiny. And so you have to believe, one, that you have purpose. You have to believe that you have been purposed to prosper, and you have to believe that you have destiny lying ahead of you that will pull you into your future and pull you closer to your vision so that you can start to manifest the life and the results that God has already intended for you to have. And so I'm really excited to be here with you today. Today, we're going to be focusing on belief in your calling. So what is this belief in your calling all about? Well, in order to really be successful in your purpose and in your vision, your life, your business goals, you have to, first of all, truly know and believe what God has called you to do. So today we're going to talk about that, because in order to really activate and ignite and execute your goals, produce the results, you must first know that your belief is directly tied to your purpose, to your success, and to your prosperity. So your mindset has everything to do with where you are today. Your mindset has everything to do with the decisions that you have made that have gotten you up to this point. So your mindset is really, really powerful, and something you must continue to explore, continue to learn about, and continue to transform and renew so that you can achieve the success God has for you, whether this is in your life or your business, your ministry. This could be for your career. These things are crucial. They are necessary, and this is a non-negotiable if you really want to unlock the success and the potential that you have to be able to have what God says that you can have, right? You say it, but I want you to know what are those things that you need to work on so that you can actually experience it. So let's talk a little bit about your calling. Your calling is so important, and believing in your calling is when you take full ownership. Is when you take full ownership and full authority of the rightful position that you have here on earth. Everyone has been called to do something, and everyone has been called to produce in something. Everyone has a gift, a skill, a talent. You all have something that God has placed inside of you. Sometimes I call these seeds, but God has given you something that you are supposed to be working with, supposed to be working in and producing, so that you can not only bring glory to Him, but you can also really show the world that you truly are His workmanship. You are created in Him. You were already predestined and preordained and prepared to do the works that God has already set you out to do. So you have to believe that when it starts, you have to know that belief in your calling means you're going to take authority. You're going to take ownership in what it is that God has called you to do. Also know that calling, when you accept the calling, and this can be hard sometimes, and at one point, this was really hard for me to do, was to just actually accept what I had been called to do. I used to be very afraid. I used to be a little bit timid to say what it was that I could do and what it was that I should be doing and where I should be focusing my energy and my time. I felt a little bit afraid because I used to worry about what was other people's thoughts, what were they going to think about me. And I had all of those different thoughts lingering in the back of my mind. So it was very difficult. So I knew what I had been called to do, but I had trouble believing and accepting and owning what that truly meant. I had trouble believing what that was going to look like in my life and how that was really going to be expressed in my life, in ministry, in my job, in my business. I was very afraid of what that was going to look like. I was also afraid of how powerful it was. So you know the power of what it is that you have been created to do. But knowing and then really executing in that power, owning that power, expressing that power through your gifts, your skills, and your talents is a completely different thing. And one of the things where women tend to miss out on is really taking full authority and ownership of that power and then bringing that into their life, their business, their career, or their ministry so that they can really achieve the success, the prosperity that God has for them. So know one thing is that your calling, it helps you to activate the untapped power and potential. You have power and you have untapped potential that is on the inside of you. And it only becomes unlocked when you embrace it, when you discover it, and when you take ownership of it. So it's more than just knowing. You have to really stand in it. Basically, it's coming into agreement. It's coming into alignment. It's coming into covenant with what is already inside of you, the plan that's already inside of you, that blueprint that is already inside of you. Even as it says in Psalms 139, he says that before I formed you, he saw your substance, the substance that is in you. And I want you ladies to realize that you have to know how to really tap into the substance of what God has made you to be, the substance of who he has called you to be, so that you can be and do the work that you were meant to do. So believing in your calling and your purpose activates that untapped power for you so that you can create a more fulfilled life. Also, when you take ownership of your calling and when you believe in your calling, that also means that you are honoring your calling. And what a wonderful thing when you can bring honor to the gifts and the talents that God has placed inside of you, then you are also honoring him. You are honoring the creator who has given you those gifts so that you can create the results. I want you to just take a step back a little bit and think about how not having this mindset, not having renewed your mindset in this particular paradigm, what this has looked like for you, what this maybe has sounded like for you, and how this could be holding you back from achieving your goals, setting bigger goals, setting those goals that's going to stretch your potential, increase your capacity to do more. So I want to tell you, first of all, is that just in my personal experience, I have met so many women, lots of women just online, and then just in my circles of influence and going to different networking events. I've met women, and I know that God had just basically put these women in front of me because one is I was standing in my calling and really doing the work God had called me to do. And so he made it very easy to bring me into alignment and in front of the women who were going to need my support. I've met a lot of women where they said that they made six-figure salaries, they had really great salaries, they had a very rewarding career with the benefits and the perks and the incentives and all of those things. They've managed $1-million accounts and really had a position, a title, an office, a role, a rank that most women, most people would envy. Okay, so it's not that they did not feel grateful, they didn't feel like they were appreciative. What it was that they actually felt a little bit guilty for having all of that and then yet still not feeling fulfilled, still not having the contentment, still not feeling that sense of accomplishment and having that sense of purpose being activated and expressed in their life. And that is a very difficult thing and a very hard thing for a lot of women to deal with. I've also come across women where they already have started their business. They started their business, they're making money in their business, yet they realize that there's more for them that they should be doing. They feel that void, and they know that the void is the calling. They know that that void is that part of their blueprint that they have not yet activated, that is waiting to come forward, that is waiting to be birthed in their life. There is nothing that compares to doing the work that you have been created to do. Nothing compares to being in alignment with your purpose and your calling so that how you are pursuing success and how you are pursuing your purpose is bringing you joy, is bringing you the sense of contentment and satisfaction and fulfillment. This is about having your heart's desires met. When the Bible tells us that if we delight ourselves in Him, if we commit our ways to Him, if we acknowledge Him, if we do these things, and if we keep Him at the front, if we're seeking Him first, He will give us the desires of our heart. So what happens is when there is not the full belief in your calling, your heart's desires are not being met. And it's not because God is not able. It's not because He can't do it and won't do it, because His promises are yes and amen. But that means that there's something that you're lacking that you need to be working in so that you can really fully carry out the plan that God has for you. This is about getting into alignment and agreement, getting into covenant with your purpose and the plans that God has for your life, and fully believing that you have what it takes and what it needs to make it happen and be successful in it. It's what you express and create in the earth and how you are achieving your goals, how you are pursuing your purpose. I want you to really think differently about what is your perspective and your level of belief. What is your measure of faith when it comes to what you have truly been called to do? And are you truly standing in that with full authenticity, with full belief, not doubting, not wavering, but knowing that this is who you are and this is how God created you and this is what you were meant to do? Most of the time, what happens is women will think about what other people think and what are all of the what ifs and what could happen and possible failures before having even stepped into the full calling of their purpose. So then instantly, that's a sign of surrender and defeat and basically just forfeiting over the success that God says, I'm going to give this to you. I placed it inside of you. And you don't want to forfeit that. But if you are already thinking about what could happen, what they will think, and the possible mistakes and failures and fears that are rising up before you've even gotten to the point of standing in it, then you're hindering yourself. And that is a form of self-sabotage. That is also a fear and a form of rejection that you have to remove from your space. You have to remove it from your external space, and you have to remove it from your internal space, your mindset and your heart and in your spirit. When it comes to your calling, when it comes to how you were fearfully and wonderfully made, where's the lack of your belief when it comes to when God says He's going to perform the work that He had already begun in you? And I want you ladies to really understand it. It all starts within. And it's not about achieving just an outcome for your business, making more money, or having a particular amount of social media followers or all of those things. When God said that I started a work in you and I'm going to finish it. So you have to focus on the work in you so that what comes out will actually be the masterpiece that God had been painting for you all along. I want you to know, with this in place, is that you are not your job description. Okay, we talk about calling. You are not your job description. You are not your income. You are not your resume. You are not your title, whether in business, career, or ministry. You are not your title, your resume, your income, your job description. You are not your metrics, the vanity metrics of social media. That is not who you are. Let's talk about who are you really. Who you are is what God called you to do. You are your calling. You are your calling. You are your gifts. You are your vision. Because most of the time when you meet someone new, what will they say? They will say, well, what do you do? But the more important question is, well, who am I? Who are you? Right? So it's not about just what you do. Most of all, and the starting point is, who are you? You are your calling. And when you can fully answer the question of who are you, your calling, who are you when it comes to your gifts and your vision? When you can say that, make those calling statements, that's also another way that you can speak life over your vision and speak life over your plans, is by speaking who you are. who God made you, who you are when it comes to your calling, your gifts and your skills, your talents, your blueprint, the substance that God said, this is what I put inside of you, and this is what I'm going to produce in you, work in you, perform in you. And then your role is to be the vessel, to be the conduit, to be that clay that God is molding and making so that you can show the world that, yes, you are his workmanship. All right. So these are the intrinsic values. These are the intrinsic values, your calling, your gifts, your skills, all of those things that you really need to come into full understanding and belief in. You have to believe in your own intrinsic value and not let it come from someone else, not let it come from a website, social media, or anything, but you have to recognize your own intrinsic value and place 100% belief in that. 100% belief in your intrinsic value, the substance that God said he already saw before he formed you, the plans that he made when he was thinking about you, the success that he has already designed for you when he said, I'll do exceedingly above and beyond what you ask or think. Because in order to believe in your calling, to elevate the belief in your calling, you have to go deeper into who are you, your blueprint, being clear on that. So once you've taken the time to uncover who are you, your blueprint, and everything that God has placed inside of you that you have to believe so that you can take authority, have the dominion over, and begin to multiply, to produce, and to create the results. It all starts from within. Your belief will drive your decisions. When you begin to elevate your belief, then the next thing is that you will build the confidence and the courage to challenge your status quo. In order to challenge the status quo, first you have to believe that you have everything you need to achieve a whole new level of success in your life and create a more meaningful impact with your purpose, with your talents, and with your skills in your calling. That's why you have to have personal development. That's why you have to have professional development. Spiritual development, you should always be learning. That's why development is so important, because we have to raise the bar for ourselves. We all have a status quo, and we have to constantly elevate ourselves and develop ourselves and discipline ourselves to go higher. What have you been used to? And think about, have you really taken the time to fully explore what your calling is and actually believe it? You have to believe that if you are operating in the calling, your plan, the destiny plan that God has for you. I'm not talking about just a frivolous plan that someone said do this and do that, but really infusing the destiny plan that God has for you into your life, your work activities, your day-to-day tasks, bringing that level of energy and focus into what it is that you're doing. So when you bring that level of energy and when you have that type of focus on your work, you are able to get a whole lot more done. You're able to produce a lot more and accelerate your goals because your belief and your focus and your energy are matching and are in alignment with the calling that you have been given so that you can produce the results you need. And again, think about it. I haven't said anything about following a checklist, go and get a PDF or anything. None of those things, because none of it will work and none of it will get you to the next level that you truly want to be at. When you don't have that type of focus in your purpose, when you don't have that type of focus in your calling and what you were meant to do, it's very easy to just have a plate full of stuff, a calendar full of stuff. If you were to look at your calendar, take a look at it. Your calendar is just filled with a lot of things. Do you give it a destiny audit? Do you give your calendar a vision check? Is this in alignment with my destiny? Is this in alignment with the vision that I'm working towards? If it is not, then why is it on your calendar? And I'm not talking about just the day-to-day things that you have to do as far as maintaining your home and things pertaining to life. I'm not talking about that. Just the level of busyness and the perceived productiveness that you are in when they have nothing to do with your calling. This is what really creates a lot of stress for a lot of women. It creates burnout and it produces a lot of overwhelm and disorganization and clutter in your life and in your business and even within yourself. Because the more distractions, that just means the more scattered you're going to feel. And the less, it'll be harder to think. It'll be harder to really piece together all of those things to figure out, well, what is this supposed to look like? What does all of this really mean? Right? It'll be very difficult to figure out, well, what is that vision? What is that rumbling? What is that power? What is that stirring up? What is that push and that nudge and that level of discontentment that you're feeling on the inside that you know that is God saying, you have got to come out of this. You have got to push forward. You've got to birth. You've got to be moving forward in your vision. But it is very difficult for you to bring clarity to the vision and bring clarity to your destiny and clarity to even your day-to-day and knowing what that looks like and how you should be executing when you don't have the right focus. So give your calendar, your planner, whatever it is that you use, give it a destiny audit. Give it a vision check. Is this in alignment? Is this keeping you in covenant with what God has already ordained you to do? That's why I say these things, because if God says, I have preordained you for this, if I've predestined you for this, that means that this is not just simply about just having another business, just doing another thing, but this is about really getting into covenant and getting into alignment with the promises that He said you can have. You can make space for the success God wants to give to you, but you have to believe it. So believing drives your decisions. Your decisions have gotten you here to today. And now that you are here today, I want you to recognize that you have to fully believe in your calling, to break through to the next level, to break out of the cycle that you may have found yourself going in over and over and over again, the cycle of fear, the cycles of abandonment, the cycle of rejection, the cycles of feeling afraid and of other people's opinions and thoughts. All of these are just cycles that you constantly find yourself going through. So you have to think about, are you willing to accept the power of your gifts, of your talents, whatever it is that you're doing? Do you fully believe that you are carrying out your calling in what you are doing? That is really important, because without that, there's always going to be a piece missing. And without that, that also means that there's a piece of you that is not being expressed. A piece of that blueprint that is not being expressed, that you have not been able to translate or to discover. That piece of you needs to come forward. That piece of you needs to be unlocked. That's the piece of you that's missing. And so often women are living fractional lives. And what I mean is that there's something missing. You want to just have a more powerful life, ministry, career? Then it's about knowing who you are and believing that what you have been called to do, you can do that. You can bring that into any area of your life. Because if God called you to do it, then it doesn't mean that you can only do it in one place, but you can't do it anywhere else. You just have to understand how that calling is expressed in different areas of your life. It will look different. You will work it out and you will walk it out differently, but you can still carry out your calling. It's also just about your perspective and how do you see yourself living in your calling as well. But you have to fully believe it. This is what's going to ignite or light that candle for you. When you are pursuing your purpose, you know that what you are doing is the work that is going to truly bring the biggest reward to not only your business or your career, but also to your life. And ultimately, back to God, because He's the one who gave it to you. But you can't be afraid of who you are. Just like the woman at the well, she didn't know who she was, but God saw her greater and better than who she saw herself as. And she needed someone to show her that and to tell her who she is so that she could then move on, come out of the cycle of going to the well at night, going back home, doing her thing, going to the well at night, going back home, doing her thing. It was a cycle for her. Have you ever felt like you've never fully believed in what you were called to do? Have you ever had that feeling? Have you ever had a moment where you were afraid to really just own it, even privately to yourself? Have you ever had that moment where admitting that, okay, yes, you know what, this is who I am. Never mind how someone else is doing the same thing, but have you ever had that moment where you felt like you were afraid to just privately admit, this is who I am and this is what I can do? And I know that it's a powerful gift and I just have to stand in it. Have you ever had that moment? Have you ever felt like if you stepped into your calling that you were going to reap someone else's opinion, have someone else cast their opinion, their thoughts, even if they don't openly say it, they are thinking it. You think in the back of your mind that they're thinking these things about you, when truly you are also thinking those things about yourself. It's because there's a lack of belief. And the lack of belief means that there's still some lingering mindsets that are hindering you from really tapping into what you were truly meant to do. Think about your daily activities. Think about your calendar, your planner. Are you giving yourself that destiny audit? Are you filling yourself with moments of busyness just so that you can feel like you're being productive? Give your life a destiny audit. Give your planner, your calendar, give it a vision check. What are you reaching towards? The success and the prosperity that you desire. Are the things you're doing in alignment with what you want to accomplish? And if it's not, then it means that you need to start pruning off your calendar and really start to think about how you can execute in your vision. That means, one, you have to know your vision. You have to clarify what is your vision. Have the confidence, the belief to know that you can attain it. When you have the right focus, you have the clarity, you have the belief to actually pursue it and attain it, knowing it belongs to you. You can have it. And then making sure you're holding yourself, challenging your status quo through development, through coaching, through reading, learning. I hope this was really helpful. Let me know if you have any comments at all about some of the things we talked about. And so just to recap, we talked about belief in your calling. We talked about knowing who you are, and then having the courage to challenge your status quo. I hope this was helpful and gave you something a little bit more to think about. It's all possible. It's in you because God said, I started this work in you and I'm going to perform it inside of you. He can do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask a thing. I'm just here to challenge what you're asking. I'm here to challenge what you are thinking so that you can produce in what God has called you to produce in. Ladies, have a great day, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Take care and be blessed. Bye.